What's up, guys? Ghosted Snails here, and we got an updated Infernoid deck profile here. This will be updated since the Yu-Gi-Oh! Day deck profile, which my boy got top 8. He placed 7th, but this is the complete version. So, yeah, let's have him take it away.
Like he said, I'm playing Infernoids. This is like the more, not complete, but I would say this is like better, like what I actually play rather than just bullshit for the actual thing. But I did get some of the main deck updated. Like that's the main important part I went to update, and I went to also update the side as well. A lot of cards I don't have access to, so I had to make do with some scratch cards, which is what will explain a good amount of this deck profile. So let's get right into it.
And just for anyone watching, because I can tell right now, the reason why he has red eyes is because I'm using the flashlight because we're in a dark corner. But anyway, continue.
I'm the devil, bitch.
For fuck's sake.
So we're gonna start off the deck with the simple monsters. We play 3 Decatron. Best card in the deck, 100%. What I do with him is What I usually do is literally with him, I summon him. If he gets ashed, you get a free Link Karibo. He's very free. He does nothing. You don't neg whenever you draw him, play him anyway. The only time you'll ever neg with him is if you don't draw into him or don't go into any plays early on. But he's just basically your plus, like the only one you can normal summon to, so he gets you out of tight spots. We run 2 of the Antra. By the way, we're going levels up, not levels down or whatever, because I don't have really any favorites. But this is like one of the more liked ones for me, because I tend to play into him a lot, and a lot of the stuff that says they can't be destroyed, he just sends them back in hand. So if you have like a Bane or something on field, he just gets rid of that very easily. I have no real problem playing around. 2 Harmonics. Very good card. I just never really see him, so I can't have no real opinion. But he's just good for the extra levels for the Void Feast, in case I want to build more board. The only level 4 of the deck, Petrulia. What he does basically is he pops the spell I trap. He can't attack after. But usually, if I have no targets for the Decatron, when it comes to the high boss monsters, I usually go into him or something else, just because he's that, like he's basically that early game pressure, especially if your opponent is playing cards that like just stop spells, field spells, continuous traps, any real problematic card he'll get rid of. And you can also all these are spammable too. For the double banishments, because they all banish, I played the one shitty one. You'll never see him. He's only there for the extra level. So if you just don't have anything left, you can just add him. I also, once in a while, just imagination him. Just, if I do end up doing imagination plays. By the way, this deck is not for imagination or going off with the tiara. I just have it as a second option. What I usually do is I have him for the extra levels for the Void Feast in case worst comes to worst, because you always need another one. I might take him out for a second Sajet, but that's very suggestive because people say he's like the worst one to add 2 of. But, second one is the Sajet. Very good card. I get to spin a lot of cards out of the extra deck with him. But the main thing is I use him for the Void Feast, just slap him, double Decatron, and you're set for most of the game. Especially with some of the spells. Some people play multiples of these. I only play the 1-ups for both. I play because I never really open into them or anything, so it's just kind of like, as long as I have them, I have them. I just play this deck very differently. I like milling it and just going into the top place. He's very good for when I have when I can just run over something, get rid of a problematic card. I never really utilized him to the fullest of extent because double attack use is not my thing. And I never see that, or you just never see a monster that you can just run over with him. For the boss monsters, we have double Deviati. Deviati speaks for himself. Pops spells, pops traps. Pops spells and traps when he's summoned. Pops monster, negates monster effects. It's all toolbox, really. I love it, but you can't always go into him. Super fucking spammable. And just for anyone asking, None of these effects are once per turn. All these effects are very spammable, like very splashable, except like the one-ups. When you negate, it's a one-up effect. For the Patrulia, the one-up effect is that. But the summon conditions for the boss monsters are very spammable. As long as you continuously summon them, you continuously get the Dark Hole and the Heavy Storm. It's just as long as they're special summoned. If you don't believe me, read the cards. For the second one, Double Anuku. I have mixed feelings about him. Like, I rarely use him now, but, you know, it just comes up once in a while. I feel no pain. And this is the updated one, because, like, I finally got these. I get to play Triple Gamma. Gamma's very good. He just unlocks a lot of potential, unlocks a good amount of your deck. You just tend to use him a lot for the negation early on, but you get to he's pretty splashable in this deck, especially. I'm not running the Omega, if anyone's asking, because I got no real use for him in this deck. I could, but I just don't have it. That's pretty much my reasoning for it. The one side frame driver, you know why, because how are you going to play Gamma? Spells. For the spells, we have the Void Banishments at 3. Jesus Christ. Void Banishment at 3. Searching out the Void Feast, searching out the Imaginations. And in case if they do ash it by any chance, or stupidly, you get to just use it for the extra banishment of a monster they summon. So if they try to swing at you with Colossus, you just banish both of them, and congratulations, you lost something. Triple Imagination. Imagination's just it. I don't ever use it for the fuse, but I use it for the levels, because I feel like it's more important to spam your field than summoning your big monster good for those LTK boards, because this is meant to be a very viable option. But, you know, like, a lot of this deck is pretty cheap, quote-unquote. I finally, instead of running 2 layers, I'm running 3. I always want to see this card. My point in the deck is that at any given time, I want to be able to negate or use your stuff for my stuff. So it's just very extra helpful. You get to just spam it. Also, for anybody, like, wondering, a lot of the explaining is going to be done really mostly in the extra deck and side deck, because a lot of it's, because this deck speaks for itself. So, for the other spells, we have 3 Monster Gates. Very good card. Very good card, very spammable. The best thing I done with it was Lair of Darkness, activate Monster Gate, tribute it, because it does not specify you just can only have a monster to tribute. So you can activate the Lair of Darkness, tribute their monster, so you can get out your Decatron and go pop off. I don't like it at 3, I might take it out. One reasoning for the same reason, but instead this one's more free. You just activate it and they call the level. So even if you send the Decatron to grave, you'll end up having more to use in your graveyard than you really do. I wanted to side this, but I play it in the main deck because you never know. Mind Control, because I tend to use it a lot. It saved me out of a few bad situations. Hashtag get it done. But Mind Control, very good. I get rid of a lot of shit. Some people used it on me. I used it on them. Very vice versa. It's a very vice versa card. I don't suggest using it unless if you have the 3, like I don't. 1-for-1 extra Decatron summon. Usually pop it for the Vanishment. And for the draw power, we have 1 Pot of Extravagance and 1 Upstart. This actually has some explaining to do. Normally, I don't know how to explain this well. Normally you run 3. I take out the extra Monster Gate for the 3rd one and take this out for another, but I cannot afford or get these because they're very hard where I am. Like, it's hard to come across them. Pretty much how I explain it, the best way to explain it is you don't worry about your extra deck half the time, or most of it's just very viable. So when you activate this, it's essentially free. Unless they pop the Tiara in your extra deck, then you're kind of like, you kind of can't go into fusion plays, but you never need to because of the Ecomaxing deck, which we'll get into. But even in this, technically, it's more free than like it's not a neg 1. It's not a neg 1. To me, it's just a plus because even giving them that 1,000, you're either gonna win or not when you draw a card. Like, drawing is the deciding factor in this deck, or just milling. So no matter what, you're gonna go into a combo piece or a combo card because I only activate these. I'll activate this early game. I never activate this early. You always activate it late game, just for the extra cards. And the one last spell, Darkle. The best card to play in here, in case you don't have your monsters to go into. It's pretty much like free kills. Like, I never had a problem playing this card. This added me out of the Mystic Mine. It added me out of a lot of cards. I had a game where literally someone slapped Mystic Mine on my Decatron, and when I could have negated the Decatron was Deviati. This is against True Dracos because they had no cards in hand. I had no cards again. I drew for turn, had the dark, like, was under Mystic Mine because of the set rotation. I slapped Dark Hole and I basically won game. For the traps, we run triple Void Feast and double Evenly. There is a problem. I'm supposed to commit to one of these supposedly, but I don't see a problem because there are times where you're gonna get bored. You're gonna get board wiped a lot of this game. You're gonna always get board wiped. My only problem is right now is that the thing about this is that you're gonna get board wiped no matter what. So if one of them goes off, you're all set. My only problem with Void Feast is be very careful when you have these. If you're gonna feast against like a Solomon Great player versus like a True Draco player, it's more scary for the True Draco player because I'm pretty sure most of them don't play hand traps like that. Or at least if they do play it, you have less of a chance getting ashed by having this getting ashed by a True Draco player than a Solomon Great or Sky Striker player. At least that's what I understand. So in this deck, you would go first against True Draco, second against Sky Striker or Solomon, so that you can just evenly match them and see if they have the negates, because if so, you bait out so much with that. But that's pretty much that. In the extra deck, we have... also, explain the extra deck. I never really cared for the extra deck other than the Tiara and the pop-off Tiara. It's kind of a self-explanatory why I don't care about the extra deck. I already explained it with the Extravagance, but if you're playing Extravagance, there's no point in having a bunch of stuff that you have to go into when you can just make it very viable. So make sure that if with this build, at least specifically, if you're going to copy this deck list, make sure that you don't care about your extra deck, or at least it's like a whatever, because most of the Infernoid's deck, they pop off in the main deck. They do not go off in the extra deck. They can, but their strength is within the main deck, because you can negate, you have negates, you have board wipes, you have all your equipment. This is just stuff that if I can go into it, it's alright. If I can't, I can't. So, in the extra deck, we have the one Tiara. I want to play two and try it out, but I know damn well I want the one because it's the less chance they're going to pop it off with the Extravagance. But you don't worry, because even if you pop him off, you still got extra stuff. On top of him, we have the three Knits, the Elder, I guess his name, Elder Entity. Basically, pop him off, pop these, pop 3 cards, freedom, you know. Most of the times I never had these popped. I never had bad experience with that, so that's just why I play it at 1. I would play him at 2, but I don't care for the second one, because if I did, I would probably take one of these out for one extra one, because I like my Link plays. For all my Link monsters, and it's just fusion and links. For my Link 4s, I had the one Borreload. It helped me out of the worst situation of my life. I played against Shadol Dinos. He goes into Borreload, steals my Anuku. I summon my Borreload, swing on his Borreload, steal back my Anuku, kill him. My Anuku finally died, and then I just brought it back. It's just basically back and forth with this card. I just don't see a reason why you wouldn't play him. He's very good and useful in utility. For the Link 3s, we have an Ecomax and a Decode Talker. Decode Talker for if I go first, I can have the extra negate on board. It always helps. And you know what? It's actually very good too, because normally they want to target certain cards, so it's good to just stop those cards or bait it out, because you could just bait out a lot of their baits won't get to you. For the OTK or whatever you want to call it, or anything like that's big and just ready to kill them, just play this. It's very good. You drop down. The monsters can't attack, but at the end of the day, they can still use effects, so you can put your negations on him, make him around 8,000, and then just swing for game in case they have a 0 attack or just nothing to really stop you with. Especially if you evenly match with him, it gets very dangerous for them. For the Link 2s, I have 2 Doolittles, just good at general fire. You can't go into him with Lair on field, so it's just the 2. I don't want to play 3. There's no reason for it. That's why we have the other generic 2s. But he's very good. He just brings them up, makes a lot of the board crazier. One Hayate, Hida. I don't know why I said Hayate, but one Hida. You know, Hida. Just there for the extra links. One Side Frame Lord, Lambda. Very good card. Makes a lot of my my theory is just makes a lot of your cards live anyway. We have a very retarded friend who decided to conceal my Gamma and my Side Frame driver, so I couldn't banish them. So because of that, or at least that's what I believe it is. I'm not sure if you can get me on the ruling, but what I understand is he concealed them, flipped them face down, but he makes them come back, so at the end of the turn, so you can get a side frame from your search for side frames. So I might add the second driver if that's the case. If not, then woohoo. This card is a savior. Get your Lair of Darkness out your grave in case you mill it. That's literally all it is. Like, if you mill Lair of Darkness, you need him. Because you mill so much that he just turns out to be very savior. Get your Lair of Darkness at the end of the turn, because by the time you're able to negate, if you summon him, if you're not able to put up a good board, then don't bother. One Underclock Taker, just for the other generic Link monsters, because I don't see a point in why not. And one Link Karibo. Link Karibo's just a savior. I might run a second one, honestly. Actually, I don't think we can because of the ban list. I'm not sure. I don't know. I just decided to play him. I only have the one in general, so very good. I like Link Karibo only for this one reason. If you go Decatron and they ash it, you can Link Karibo, bring back the Decatron or summon another Decatron, go into a bunch of Link plays because you can Link spam with the Link Karibo. Not spam, but like you can go into a lot of Link plays with Link Karibo or just stop a lot of attacks and a lot of problematic cards from killing you. It just makes a lot of your day way easier and just gets you around a lot of problematic cards. I've had it a few times where it saved my ass, so I'm very biased when it comes to there. Also, because of that card, we got this. I might be flexing, but in all honesty, it did get me that card. Like, Link Karibo saved my ass so many games, it's not even funny. For the extra side deck, we are running a good 15 side deck. I am very, like, right now. I didn't know half of this side deck originally, but you know what? Let's get into it. Winamorphic Sloth, the literal killer of all Orcus monster effects. Because if they can't go into the extra deck, they can't do that. It's pretty much just any extra deck spam deck. You summon him and they just crumble most of the times. They have to find an out to that, because it's like having a Vanity's Fiend on board for them. Triple Scythe. At first I was skeptical about playing this fucking card, because I don't really care for spam. But when you realize that most of like people playing this card, like if you play this card and you have your outs to it, you fucking just dominate them. Especially if it's like Ultrageist where they just pop everything, or at least something stupid like that. Most of the times it just hurts Orcus because they want to make sure you don't have field. So just goes into it. One Lancia because I can't afford the other two. And what I replaced the other two with is 2 effect failures. Just makes the deck easier. He's a once per turn, but you know, what are you gonna do? You just need the extra hand. For spells, double Call by the Graves for Sky Strikers. Oh my god, does it not kill them? Especially if you pull out, put one for Ray, one for Kagiri. You basically have game, because without Kagiri, they can only go into engage multiple times. But even then, you're not losing out much. Cosmic Cyclone. I just hate certain cards. It's just very good back row removal. I only have the one, so I have the Twin Twister to compensate for it. But my favorite card in this, I won it at 3. I want 3 and 2 more of these. Soul Drain. Soul Drain and Amorphic Sloth is the most disgusting degenerate combo this deck has came out of for this. Because originally I played against Orcus. I had nothing originally for them at the time because I didn't think about it. So I just sided in these two, drew open-handed both of these, had a Petrolia in hand, set this, summoned out the Petrolia by milling with the reasoning. Summoned Petrolia, popped their back row, summoned him, and basically they call it, that's game right there. Because after that, I summoned a Decatron, and they couldn't negate anything, they couldn't do anything, they couldn't activate anything in grave to banish, they couldn't summon anything. It just locks them out completely, because most of their deck is just gone at that point. And then you just spam them and kill them for game. If you're ever playing this deck, always invest in the Soul Drain. This helps out way more. This helps out in the long run, because at the end of the time, during the Orcus match, you activate this, they crumble before you can, because you can banish with your hand. They can activate in the hand, especially with the level 1 monster, so you can have this, have the Decatron in hand, banish him, summon Petrolia, and then that basically gets you your wins. Or you can just activate it and just watch them crumble, because your 2s and 3s all can summon special summon from hand too. It doesn't just have to be that. The only thing I would say is be careful activating this, because you will lose the 1,000. If you're in time, you better kill them. That's my only advice with that card. But beyond that, that's that's my deck profile. If I had to choose, what I might do with this deck is very unknown. But what I want to do with the main deck, at least, if you care about it, I would say take the 5, take him out, add another Sajet, maybe add another Psychic Driver, because you tend to only burn out of it, and it becomes a dead draw once you have it. But to be honest, it's not that bad. I would say with Omega and all that stuff, it would be probably way better to have it there. The extra deck, just add the second Tiara if you feel very unsafe. I've playing with the risk of not having Tiara. Most of this time it's main deck. Like I said, you should only be playing it with the main deck. You should never expect to go into a Link play or any other play. It's just there as an option. Equimax should be the only one you would want to go into because of just the constant spamming. But anyway, guys, that's me, Crow. Basically after this segment, I'm gonna have another separate segment from the regular stuff. Hopefully it gets recorded, and then I will upload them on Wednesdays. It's gonna basically me reviewing or building troll decks. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have a troll deck hopefully open by this Wednesday, and have it recorded and then sent. But I am looking to try and start a whole thing. Let me know in the comments or like this video if you want to see me do that, because I do have a deck right now for that. But please support us. These videos make us keep playing this game at this point. We love this. I truly love this game. I had this when I was a kid. This is gonna get edited out super hard. But anyway, just let us know how you feel about the game. Let us know. Like the comment. Let me know if you want to see me start talking about troll decks and stuff like that. Because there's a lot of decks out there that I want to start talking about and just get into a small in-depth. It's not going to be 10-minute videos, but they will have some length. But thank you guys so much. It's an amazing road we're right now walking on. We're almost hitting 20 subscribers, and it's fucking crazy to me that 20 of you want to watch us. But in all honesty, it's just shocking that we're actually have people that like us. So, thank you all for watching. Just comment, subscribe. You can turn off the recording right now. Okay.